Hello and welcome back to another video. The February ScrawlrBox has just dropped through the letterbox. Let's get into this. It feels thick and heavy. Wow. Okay, this looks exciting. This looks really, really exciting. So let's get all this out of the box. Let's arrange it down here and then let's have a little look at the featured artist straight out of the box. So as many of you know, if you've been watching me for a while, this is really up my street. Look how beautiful that is. But I love the background and this being really foreshortened in the foreground. It's really cool. That's really nice. I like that. So this is the featured artist. I'll let you have a read. They're an Indonesian artist, an art educator, and their Instagram and Patreon are at the bottom there. So do pause this if you'd like to read a little bit more about them. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Now, straight away, you can obviously see the big elephant in the room, which is this. It's Himi, which I have the Himi jelly gouache, which I've seen a lot of videos about recently, that apparently in Oriental countries that use a lot of the Himi gouache, they actually use them like oil paints when they are in school because it's cheaper than actually buying oil paints to use in their art classes. So I thought that was quite interesting and something I'd like to try. But this is by the Himi brand and it is gouache paper and brushes. So this is jelly gouache in tubes. This is really, really cool. Really cool. You get a really nice broad range of colours as well. Titanium white, lemon yellow, earth yellow, ponciao, I don't know how to say that, deep red, violet, acid blue, Prussian blue, pale green, jade green, ochre and black. And it comes with 3 brushes, a filbert, flat and round, and some gouache paper as well. This is awesome. This is really, really cool. I'm really excited about this. Let's open this up before we get into the rest of the packet. Okay, so straight away we've got the brushes. They look like really decent synthetic brushes as well. That's the brushes. Let's have a look. Wow, look at that. So there are your colours. Very interesting. And then this is just some paper that comes with it. So everything's all in one with that, which is really cool. Then in this other package, let's have a look. Oh, exciting. We have the vinyl sticker, which is a really lovely part of that featured artwork. I have a collection of these stickers that I don't know what to do with, so do drop a comment down below to let me know how you use your stickers. We have it looks like it could be a toffee, a chocolate covered toffee or something like that. Very nice. We have some empty masking tape, chamois paper washi adhesive tape. Very nice. I have a lot of this. You see this a lot in like London Graphic Centre and stuff. There's always the big stands with all these washi tapes in. It's a really nice pale pink colour. I'm assuming this is just to mask the outside of your paper so you can start painting on it. And then we have a mechanical pencil. It's Pentel, just a basic pencil, very lightweight and simple. Very nice. Okay, let's have a look at the Scrawlr Zen then and see what we have in here. So the spread, yes, like I said, this washi tape is for straight borders and blocking out areas to keep the page clean. We have the featured artist. Wow, their work is absolutely lovely. Beautiful work. Look at that. I love gouache, but I can never seem to get this lovely depth in landscapes with them. So maybe that's something I need to try with this box. The Scrawlr tips and things to try, which I will read as always as we swatch. A deep dive into using them. Some more artists' advice and how they did this artwork. The Scrawlr Gallery, which is the artwork from 2 boxes prior to this one. So this is when we had Gilded Wings as the Scrawlr Challenge and we had the metallic Derwent watercolours, and I'm actually featured in this one, which is really exciting. That's 2 boxes in a row. How exciting. I love that. I really actually enjoyed this. When I opened this box and I got these metallic watercolours, I was not sure I'd enjoy them, but I really did, and I love this piece of artwork. It's currently on my pegboard just looking at me because I really like it. Probably stick that in a sketchbook at some point. Then we have the Scrawlr top 3. Some lovely pieces there. Really all different as well. Really, really different. Then we have the Scrawlr Extra. One sketchbook, many scrolls. I've seen this before. This sketchbook's been sent to different Scrawlr users, people who buy ScrawlrBox, and they sign up and you can get this ScrawlrBox sketchbook sent to you and you can fill a page in and then send it on. It's really interesting. I like that idea. Been all over the UK. And then the Scrawlr Extra is mystery and magic. Ancient beliefs, medieval mushrooms, contemporary art and surrealism movements. Very nice. And finally, the ScrawlrBox Scrawlr Challenge is forest finds. Okay, we've got to do something mushroomy. We cannot not do something mushroomy, knowing us. So that's really exciting. How exciting. Let's get to swatching and see what we can come up with for that prompt and have a little bit of fun with these paints. Alright, so let's have a little summary of the Scrawlr tips. Swatching. The gouache tends to dry a little bit lighter than when it's wet, so make sure you swatch them. This is the case with any supply, but especially the gouache, because they can muddy, so just remember that. The gouache can be applied thick or thinned down like watercolours, appearing translucent. You won't get that bloom that a watercolour has, but you will get a lovely translucency to the paint if you water them down enough, and then a little bit of white will increase the opacity further. But even if you just use them straight out the tube, or they do reactivate once dry like a watercolour and a gouache usually does, but if you use them straight out the tube and they are thick and glossy, they will apply really creamy, really opaque. And just remember, if you are doing a large area of flat colour, make sure you make a big batch of that colour up so that it stays consistent and you don't overwork the colour on the page. And finally, not all the colours have the same undertone, so test these colours so not to muddy them. As you can see here, I've done my usual grid system, and this is merely mixing one colour with one other colour in the set, and it creates this massive range of colours. Just imagine as you start to go into mixing 3 colours, etc., it will be fantastic. The range of colours is amazing, and this is a really, really high value box in my opinion on the get-go right now. So onto the artwork. I started using the washi tape, and this washi tape feels thinner than most washi tapes, but it feels glossy, it feels smoother, and it is definitely less tacky, which is perfect for painting, because even some washi tapes will still rip my paper when I pull them off, whereas these definitely didn't, which is fantastic. And onto my inspiration. I definitely pulled a lot of inspiration from the featured artist. Her work is fantastic, and I loved the really faded, less detailed background and that pop and really bright subject in the foreground, and I definitely wanted to mimic something similar. And so I kind of went through my archives of photographs and noticed that I had some lovely photographs of mushrooms from when I went to a walk, on a walk in New Miller Dam in Wakefield, and I found this lovely mushroom, which is actually the false chanterelle mushroom, and it was just a lovely photo of these trees in the background, the chanterelle in the foreground, and I thought it was perfect for this. So I started to sketch that out and laid down some of the sky colour, because in my image you could see a little bit of the sky poking through the greenery, and so that's what I did there, and then started to layer up some greens. Now, if you've ever used the Himi gouache, just mixing the yellow and the green and the blue doesn't quite work. It gives you quite a bluey green. There's not much yellowy to it, even if you add tons and tons of the yellow. So I actually found mixing that ochre colour and the Prussian blue with the yellow helped create a really luscious sap green type colour, and I just basically increased the amount of blue or yellow depending on how vibrant or dark I wanted it, adding a touch of that black. I know you're not meant to, but in this palette I didn't really have too much choice, adding a touch of that black or a touch of the brownie colour, which I can't remember the name of it. I think it might have been an umber colour, adding a touch of that just to deepen it even further or create more of an earthy tone to the greens, and I just simply layered these up, doing dots and stippling with the different brushes to create the leaves and the lush greenery getting more and more dense towards the bottom of the tree trunks. Now, something I noticed from the featured artist is that she uses a very monotone background, so if you look really carefully at the tree trunks, you'd see that they are a bit more on the greeny side. In fact, I think they are painted with a deep green, and that really created a cohesive but not impactful background that didn't take away from the subject of the painting. And I do wish I'd done that a little bit more, been a little bit less detailed, but I do struggle with that. I do struggle with trying not to be too detailed, and so I think I wished I'd gone a bit more monotone with this and a bit more faded and less detailed. But I do later on, I don't think I capture it on camera, I do later on actually do a little wash of green over those trunks just to dull them down a little bit. Now onto the foreground here. In my image there's, as you can see from the sketch here, there's like a hump that the false chanterelle is sat upon, and then there's this weird in between section between the bottom of the trees and that hump. And that in my reference image was actually little stones with moss growing from them. And I really liked that, and that's what I was proceeding with. But then I realised that it was taking away from the chanterelle itself, and I wish I'd just continued those tree trunks down and created less of an intrusive background in that kind of mid area, which I do think I managed to dull it down a little bit and make it darker, but I wish I'd gone a little bit differently on that. And that's why you should always mock up your pieces. You should do mini thumbnails, mini versions of colours, and that would have been more helpful and something that I think I need to start adopting more in the future. Then onto the false chanterelle, I used a lot of the ochre colour again, dulling it with some of the umber and brightening it with some yellow, and I just started layering up those colours and the depth in this, using the umber to create layer upon layer of those deep grooves. I think my camera didn't film some of that, that's why there was a bit of a jump there in progress, but I just layered and layered and layered, and that's all I can say with this is layer in thin layers. Once you start adding thick layers, that's when you start muddying your colours, that's when you start getting a bit of cracking because you're working a little bit too thick. So just test it out, have a bit of fun. I definitely will be coming back and creating some more art with this box because I am in love with it at the moment. I've always liked gouache, but I think I could really push these a little bit further. It actually made me pull out my Himi gouache that I had from a long time ago, and they'd started to dry out, and I've refreshed them. And if you're wondering how to do that, just pour a little bit of water into each of your little tubs, leave it overnight, and then give it a mix up with a toothpick, and it should usually turn back to its creamy, lovely jelly self. Just be careful, because I'm fortunate enough that my water doesn't seem to cause it to do anything, but some people have reported that their Himi gouache go a bit mouldy if you don't use distilled water, so just be aware of that if you are going to refresh your Himi gouache. So yes, as you can see, I'm just continuing this layering, layer of many strokes, trying to get that detail in there. I definitely could have pushed it a little bit further, but I was quite happy with the way it looked. I felt like it fit with the background a little bit better than going too much detail. And then I worked on this foreground here, just creating layers of darks and then going back in with some more of those lush greens that I mentioned from the background, and started to create grass-like little moss stumpy bits, just to create a little bit more interest in the foreground and basically mimic a little bit of the featured artist work, because I really liked it. And I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Like I say, I might have another play with these in the future, so do stay tuned for that. And I appreciate all your support. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.